This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
It was just amazing. The session I had with her, hypnotherapy and a past life regression. Had hypnotherapy before, never did the past life regression. OMG, what came up? It was just what an experience. She is Alex Lettieri. She's back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? I'm really excited to talk about your session.
Yes, it's I I've had hypnotherapy before back to the childhood. So a lot of that, I was seeing images that I've seen before. And even if, I could be driving in the car and just think of, oh, I remember the time when I was, around three or whatever. That was pretty clear. Um,
Hmm.
but it was almost talk about a timeline. Like we go back, we go back, we go back. Now we're in mom's womb. And you asked me, what was my mom feeling? And I felt what she was feeling. And I don't want to say that I was trying to think what she was feeling. I was actually feeling it.
Hmm.
The weirdest thing.
Hmm.
Um, and then you took me back to another life. And at first, it just seemed like, nah, I don't know if this is really real. But the images kept coming up. They weren't going away. And that was me in another life, if you will, on a farm. I was working on a farm. And I think it
Hmm.
was around the 1800s, which resonates with me. I love that time period. But what came next was a mind blow. I gotta tell you. Um,
Yeah.
what before we continue, your overall thoughts of the session, the timeline regression, all of that.
Okay. So I have this, I don't want to say challenge because it wasn't like super challenging, but this comes up in sessions a lot where during the session, the client is like trying to understand what's happening in the subconscious mind or like, why am I seeing this image? How can I relate this? How does this make any sense? Am I making this up? Right? All of those feelings and thoughts are occurring when someone is experiencing something that they've never experienced before. Like for you, being on a farm. Like, why am I on a farm? Is there anything else around? Like, kind of trying to think about the pieces that are kind of being revealed to you.
Hmm.
So this is called conscious interference. And so what my job is and what I do is I am looking for that. I'm recognizing that in a client. I'm noticing, oh, they're trying to think their way through this. And the subconscious mind is like, nope. So I have to be very cognizant of whether or not that's happening. And so I can tell by, yes, your facial expressions, but also the ways that you're responding to me. So, if you even vocalize, I think this is, and I'm like, okay, well, you're thinking, so we're not thinking, we're relaxing. So I am very gently persistent where I have you, okay, that's nice. Take a deep breath. We're going to go even deeper. And then I count down. And as you take a deep breath, and as you kind of relax into your body, we get into a feeling. And when we get into the feeling, we can tap into our other senses. So the way that we've talked about this, your subconscious mind communicates with you is through your senses and also through like metaphors. So your subconscious speaks in symbols, stories, emotions, feelings. And that's what we most need to access to understand the storyline about what's happening, what the past life is trying to reveal to you. And once we can get there and kind of get that energy flowing and you allow, it's a lot about allowing. It's like less trying, more allowing. Once the storyline gets to going, then you even recognize in yourself because you were feeling emotions, you were actually experiencing something that is not true to your current life right now.
Hmm.
Um, so that was one thing where it was like, okay, I know that you want to try, I know that you want to know if it's real. I know that you want to try and make sense of what's happening. But right now, we're going to gather all the data from the subconscious. And once you're out of hypnosis, once you have some time to process, then you can think about the connections afterwards. So that's one thing that really stood out. And I think it was important to talk about.
I've shared with many. in my circles. Matter of fact, even earlier today about the session. And I said, she's great in the way that she gets it out of you. For example, I'm on a farm and, we'll get to some of the things that presented crazy. But you would say, all right, let's go deeper. And you gave me a count. What's your name? What's your name back then? I don't know. And you're like, all right, take a deep breath. Three, two, one. As soon as you did that, I'm like, Ben, where
Mhm.
the hell I come from? Ben, I don't
Mhm.
even know a Ben. Where
Yeah,
that was the, and that was
it's
my
counter.
name.
Exactly. It's counterintuitive. It's like the more you try, the less you get, and the more you relax, like literally the more that you allow and relax into your own body and go inward, because that's what we're doing. We're having you go inward, the more information comes. And so it's just my job to recognize when someone's trying or when they're resistant and kind of get them into a place where they feel comfy. It is
Mm,
really intimate work.
yeah.
Um, because emotions come up that maybe they didn't expect to feel or expect to process.
Believe me, I had no plans of feeling processing anything like that. Going back to the childhood, yes, I've as I shared, I had hypnotherapy before we met. Years back, couple, three, whatever. Um, and that was emotional and rightfully so. Um, but this was very different. And there was a point where there was a barn. I'm on a farm. I feel it. I see it. I know I'm with somebody, like a wife. I'm not seeing her. And I don't know why. I feel the presence of someone, but I'm not seeing her. And then all of a sudden it hit me. She died. And I
Mhm.
was just like, that's right. She died. That's why she's not here. And then I went a little bit deeper and then I saw her dying in bed and was
Mhm.
bawling like a baby because it was real. It felt
Mhm.
real. The emotions, losing somebody. Um, wasn't expecting any of that. All good, but wasn't expecting it. But that further provides evidence, I feel, of how this is real.
Yeah. And so the question of whether or not is it real, that question comes up all the time. And I think I've maybe mentioned this before, but there is someone who is studying it, a doctor who is studying this kind of phenomena in children who remember past lives at the University of Virginia. And he'll collect all the data, he'll go back to the timelines, he'll search for corroborating evidence of them being real, and he'll find it. And that has been repeated time and time again. But in terms of past life, um, regression in hypnotherapy, I think that it's less about the answering whether or not it's real, and it's more about noticing how it made you feel in the literal sense and symbolic sense. Like something is happening within you to move your emotions around to make you feel a certain way. And just that can bring on powerful healing in itself. And so maybe after our session, this is just an assumption because we haven't really gotten deep into it, but maybe after your session, you felt a release. Actually, I do remember you saying that you feel much calmer and you feel like more at peace. So that could be because something that you witnessed or something that you experienced during your hypnosis session, during your past life regression, moved some energy around to kind of make space for new healing to happen. And that is real. Whether or not the life was real, which I personally believe that they are real, but whether or not you can have factual evidence to corroborate it, if something changes within you, I think that's all that you need to know. That's the powerful shift that needed to happen for you in that moment at that time.
Are there connections between the past life regression, excuse me, and now? Because there was an interesting thread, which I'll get to in a
Mhm.
moment, but your thoughts on that.
Um, yes, I do think that there are connections within your current life and now. So sometimes here, okay, yeah, this is the way that I want to say it. So because your subconscious talks to you, I'm getting excited, talks to you in symbols and stories and emotions. It uses like it uses things that it can relate to in your current life for you to bridge the connection, for you to make the connection to the past life, for you to um, really go deeper in, because that's the intention, right? If you have the intention to go back to a past life to help you understand something, it will use what you already know to get you there, right? Because if it's like we're speaking in English, if you were speaking in another language and information was coming up in a different language, you might not necessarily understand it. So it needs to speak your language, or um, you need to be able to understand the language of your subconscious mind, so it will use things in your current life to get you back there to to the past.
So here's the one thing I'm struggling with a little bit.
Okay.
I was in another country away when we did this just last week,
Mhm.
and there was a horse in a field next to where I was staying. And they don't treat the horses that well there. And it was bothering me. And I went there multiple times in the day. I would feed the horse, I would give it water. There were times where it was wrapped around some rebarb and cement, like, and it couldn't even move its head, couldn't even eat. Like, my gosh, I'll go over there, and I don't care if I'm getting eaten by fire ants, you're getting out of here. And I could feel like I looked at it, it's in its eyes, and it looked in mine, and we're like, we're good. I just felt a connection.
Mhm.
Then we did our session, and I saw an image of me and my sister. We couldn't have been more than three. And I've seen this before. I even have a picture of me feeding a horse. And that was kind of a thing we did with our father back then.
Mhm.
That was real. Now we go into that regression, and I'm a farmer and I have a horse.
Mhm.
And then in that regression, after I left that house, my wife had died. I went into a town with my horse, and I started a new life. Let's just call it that. We can get to that in a
Mhm.
moment. The horse theme. What's going on here?
What's going on? Yes. So this actually happens often, and it's pattern. So um, I'm looking for different patterning. So there is patterning that's happening during your childhood regressions, because we go to childhood, then we go to womb, then we go to past life. So there's different themes, right? So abandonment was one of the themes that we were kind of
Hmm.
looking at.
Hmm.
And there's other themes that come up. So the horse was a theme. So there was some kind of connection to your current life, to your childhood, to your past life that kind of went with this abandonment theme. And there are connections that basically that was the gateway in. The horse was like getting you ready, right? Because I know that you were thinking about the session, you were um excited for the session, and maybe even asking your guides like, hey, I'm going to do this session, like please let it work, like please let it be please let it be
Impactful.
something
Yeah.
impactful. Exactly, exactly. And so your guides and your subconscious aren't just working when you're in hypnosis, they're working all the time. It's just the easiest way in. So I think that it was the bridge. And I think that happens a lot with people where, like, oh my gosh, I keep seeing the number 17 and something happens. And maybe in a past life, they were the number 17, like a soccer player or something like that. And it's kind of just like, it's just kind of saying, like, hey, like this has significance, like this is real, like you're seeing it and you felt a connection to the horse then, and you're seeing it and you felt a connection to the horse now. And some people are like, oh, well, maybe because I saw the horse, that's why I went to a past life with a horse. I mean, yes, maybe that could be true. That could not be true. But again, what it comes down to is the impact of the session, and the impact of how you felt and what you received from that and how you feel differently after. That's what is important. But again, the patterning, I look for the patterning, I look for the themes, and noticing when that comes up, that means there's something there. When there's something that keeps happening, keeps showing up, there's something that you can kind of get to a deeper part of you from.
So this is going to be out there for a moment, but
Okay.
the horse.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying. The horse that I was with on vacation, unless I was drinking lots of tequila and it didn't exist, which I wasn't. It was real. It was
Yeah.
real. And the
Mhm.
horse in my childhood that came up, the visual in the hypnotherapy, it was real. I actually have a
Mhm.
picture. So I know, that happened. I didn't imagine that. Maybe the horse in this life, it was like the gateway to get me in.
Hmm.
Is it possible that we live many different lives? And that one did involve a horse, and that's the first one that came up.
It is possible, but also with the intention. So, um, talking about, yeah, like the intention was to kind of explore abandonment, and it kind of came up in the same theme where you lost your wife, and then in that same life, which we'll get to, you lost another wife. And
Well, no, I didn't lose the other one.
well, didn't she die before you?
Oh, I forgot about that in the very end.
Yeah.
In the very
See the
end.
theme. There's a theme, there's a
Hmm,
connection
interesting.
to that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
I honestly,
that
I,
is,
I forgot about that
yeah,
because there were some good memories. There was
exactly.
I got elevated in this town. I got maybe a political. I don't do politics, but I got elected to something, and I wasn't the sheriff, but it was something big and respectable,
Hmm.
and I saw her look at me. Um, what's the best word? Proud. I could see
Proud.
it. Like I was like, oh yeah, okay, great. Um,
Yeah.
and everything was good. That got us into the end where she did pass away. But we were old. We
Yeah.
grew old together. It was
Hmm.
wild. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, let's go back actually, because I feel like if I was listening to this, I'd be like, well, what happened in your life? So, okay, you moved to another town. I know what happened. Tell me the rest for everyone else. What happened when you moved to another town?
Um, I just remember pulling into the town on a horse and
Hmm.
just, walking around and talking to people. But just what I said, I got elected to something. I got elevated in some, I don't know what it was. I can't give you any more. I just remember being respected and my wife, second wife there, proud, very clear picture of her face looking at me. Maybe I'm addressing a bunch of people. I didn't even know what it was. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not remembering anymore. And what am I leaving out?
No, I think that was good. I think it's perfect. I think that it's just like all the details that you can get from the subconscious are amazing. And one thing about your session too is I remember thinking that you would be very visual, which you were. You did receive information through visual like pictures, like how you're explaining your wife's face, but also you have other really strong senses. Your sense of feeling, like I could tell that you were feeling something way before you even like told me what was happening. And I have to remember, and this is one thing that I want to say, is that when someone's in hypnosis, especially during past life, there are thousands of details and things that are happening that they can't necessarily explain to me, but they're just kind of like, I'm like, what's happening? Okay, and what happens next? And they're just kind of feeding me the information, but they're just giving me bare bones. They're just giving me the basic information that I need to like understand where they are so I can kind of go guide them to the next step. But you're receiving in so many different ways rather than just visual. And I think that kind of threw me off a little bit because I'm like, huh, all the first memories were very visual, and then towards the end when we were in past life it was very much a feeling, it was very much a sense of a knowing of, no, this is how I feel, this is what's happening, and this is what I know to be true, without the scene unfolding like a movie.
Well, the opener for me was when I realized she passed away. The
Yeah.
first wife, because like why why isn't she
Hmm.
around? I know I have one.
Yeah.
I know I have one. Hey, I should not making dinner. We're not hanging out together. What are we doing here?
What happened
Um,
to her? Yeah. I think that actually, when we got your name, when we got Ben, because initially we didn't get it, and then later on we got it. But I think I was asking you a question, and we had already passed this understanding that your wife died, but then I asked something about your wife, and you went back in time to the scene where she was dying. This was like you went back and you re-experienced her dying. You knew that she did, but you didn't exactly know what happened. And then the deeper you went into, the more you trusted yourself and what was coming through, you went back and you re-experienced that. And then that was confirmation for sure for you that she did pass away.
yeah, I was there. I saw
Yeah.
it. Unfortunately, I was there when that and uh, you even asked her name. I think her name was Mary.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to remember the name of the other wife. I want to say Renee or Emily. I can't remember.
It
I think
was,
Renee.
I think it was Renee,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was
pretty
Renee.
sure. Yeah. Just fascinating, crazy, wild ride. Um, you personally,
Hmm.
having done this for clients,
Yeah.
in my situation, and your belief, this is good. We can't prove there is an afterlife or a pre-life. We can't prove it. But based on what you've been saw, how I got emotional in these situations, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, dude, it's legit. You were there. Where would you put it? What do you think?
I would say 10. I would say
Yeah.
10. Because
Mm.
like what would you like what else makes you feel those emotions that way besides your actual life, right? You can watch a movie and feel compassion for someone and be like,
Not
"Oh my
like that, though.
gosh."
Not like that.
No, no, you're feeling those emotions as if you own those emotions. You're experiencing it as if you own those memories, like they're yours.
Yeah.
And I think that the sense of ownership where it's like, no, actually, like if you were to talk about your current life, like, oh, this story, this happened to me, my name is Steve, but when you can own it like as if you were living it, this is mine, I can claim this memory. I know this for a fact. This is what happened to me. This is what happened to my wife. It's different.
Mm. I'm a skeptic. I've worked with the insert name of psychic, even
Yeah.
all big names. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not a psychic connoisseur. I just work with them. It just happened that way. Even though they're friends, I still am skeptical from time to time. And I
Hmm.
try to punch a hole in it. I'm looking at it but I can't because they are doing what they do. It's legit. I can't, I want to find, but I can't. And the
Hmm.
same thing here holds true where I want to say, man, I don't really know about that. My only question mark is the
Hmm.
horse theme. It seems a
Hmm.
little too, you know, horse one, horse
Connected.
two, those are real. This
Yeah.
one, where I'm in front of a barn, horse, right? That one, my jury is out on that one, but maybe there was
Hmm.
a reason. And
Yeah.
this is, my belief. Why do I love a horse so much? This horse in the field. I don't like. I would take a bullet for it. What's going on?
Okay, so there's two things that I want to say back to you for that. The first one is that I asked you, what does a horse mean to you? And I think you said like
Trust.
trust, honesty, loyalty. And those are the themes that came up when I regressed you into the womb. And I was like, what did you come here to do? Trust was a theme that came up. And then when you passed away, your body, or when you left that Ben's body and you went into spirit, I had you look back at your life and I said, what were you learning in that life? What was your strongest theme? One of the answers that came to you, um, about your next life was that you needed to trust more. It was that you needed to be, um, or not trust more, but be careful with who you trust, like using discernment.
Yeah.
There was some kind of, I can't remember exactly what you said, but there was something like that that was embedded in it. And so the horse, I mean, people talk about spirit animals or spirit guides or things like that, and it could be
Sure.
just like your representation of what that means and how you're working on it. The other thing was for the horse, the second thing was your horse. I remember you during that life, you tied it up and you ended up entering somewhere, a restaurant or something, and you were talking about your wife. And I asked you the significance of the horse, and you said it was your wife's favorite horse, and I think his name was Charlie. I
It
don't know if
was. It was.
yeah. I have a weird, uncanny ability to
Yeah.
remember my
It's
clients'
amazing.
past life. Yeah,
That's
like if I'm
that's it.
talking to you, I can remember everything. Like I'm not thinking about it consciously, but I say I'm in it with you, right? Like I'm going on this journey with you. It's like
You
we're
watch the same
together.
movie. You watch the same movie.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah. So like I
much.
can when you describe what you're going through, I can like kind of visualize it and see it in my head. I don't know if it's exactly the same. And we don't have the science or the technology to like see that maybe
Hmm.
later on in the future, but I feel like I'm there with you.
Very much so. And that is one of many superpowers you have to remember these things. And part of me was like, she's writing this stuff down, but you're still remembering it and you're not looking
Yeah.
at notes. And I forgot the
Yeah.
horse's name. And I was even joking with friends about this. And I was even calling the horse in the field when I was away, the one that I was tending to, was calling it Charlie.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hmm.
In fun, I knew I was calling it, but that's where did that name come from?
Yeah,
Had to come from
exactly.
somewhere. Unless I have a very vivid imagination and made this stuff up. And those who are skeptical could say that. However, you wouldn't be feeling the emotion, and the
Hmm.
emotions came up multiple times during the regression. Super
Hmm.
cool.
I don't think you expected that either.
No, and
Not as deeply.
I'm going to laser this and also be very transparent. I was trying to hold it back.
Hmm.
I don't want you to see it.
Yeah.
And even like, because it kept coming up, it kept going like that's an emotional part. That's an emotional part. I'm like, I hold it. I don't want her to see it, because
Hmm.
for so everybody gets to feel. I'm on a couch. We have phones in front of us. We're zooming. But there were moments where I was like, I don't want to show her again. I'm like, here, I'm going to bawl like a baby, because this
Yeah.
imaginary horse, did something or somebody passed away in this life. Um,
Hmm. But
but
sometimes, like, but that those are the moments, like that's the bread and butter of of
I know.
hypnosis. It's like those are the moments where you have to give, well, I give it to you, but I don't need to, right? But it's like you have to give your permission to let yourself really feel that, because that can also be a way that you go deeper. Even though you were holding it back, I think that, I mean, I could see it in your face, right? People's faces turn red when they're gonna cry. I can see it in your face. I'm not gonna, say, oh, it's okay if you want to cry. It's kind of just like, yeah, just let yourself, like, give yourself permission to
Yeah,
feel whatever it is that's coming up.
walk through it because
Yeah.
ultimately it can help you heal from things too.
Yeah.
Releasing that energy. You're amazing. I still like
Thank you.
it's like I've always wanted to do this,
Mhm.
and you met my expectations times a million. And again, I'm skeptical. I got to say it was real because of the feelings that I felt.
Mhm. Thank you. I'm
Amazing.
glad.
Yeah, crazy. Somebody else wants to experience this, maybe get some answers. All of it. How do we connect with you?
Yes, so you can go to my website, www.info-cultivateconsciousness.com. And also you can find my Instagram, follow me on Instagram, message me on Instagram. It's cultivate.consciousness LLC. And I'm happy to share and to just kind of guide people into the right direction when it comes to hypnosis, hypnotherapy, past life. I love the spiritual stuff, but I can also do behavioral stuff as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And there's,
Mhm.
I think even in what we did, there was a mix of both,
Mhm.
because we were talking going back to the childhood and then, before that, um, your other superpower, you make people feel comfortable.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's so important to me.
it's the truth, but you don't baby somebody.
Yeah.
Like you could have
Mhm.
said, it's okay if you want to cry. No, let it out. Just do what you're going to do. You don't have to say anything. You
Mhm.
just guide in a gentle way, but you get where we need to go, for the most impact. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the
You're
session
welcome.
for today. Excuse me, I have to go feed a horse. No, I wish I did. Um, we'll catch up next time. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
bye.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.